Peace and blessings. My name is Carlos Walker, and this is Art and Hustle, Black Authors Matter. And today I got Mr. Johnny Williams III with me. How you doing, sir?
Doing amazing, brother. I'm doing amazing, Carlos. How you doing?
Man, perfect. Look, we woke up this morning.
Yes, sir.
Look, everybody didn't make it, but we are one of the ones who did.
Yeah, we're here. We're here.
So, if you will, share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm a messenger, first and foremost. And when I say that, that might strike folks into like a messenger. Um, many years of my life, have encompassed lots of life lessons, things like that. Lots of times I find myself within a mess.
Mm,
Age through this life, some 52 years, I realized that my job is to tell the testimony, to tell folks how I got through the test. So therefore, I move the mess, right? And as I do that, I put the verb with it. So that's why I say I'm a messenger. Um, I've I've gone on to talk to over 1 million kids
mm,
over 27 years of my career. Um, I was able to bounce back from an injury with regards to playing ball, thinking that was going to be my dream. And lo and behold, inspired my younger brother to continue with his journey and his dream. And he was fortunate enough to make it to the top of the food chart in in pro sports, as far as NBA basketball. And he allowed me the opportunity to manage his career. And that really took me on a journey because now I'm working from the aspect of being around someone dream, being around the resources and so many young people aspiring to the same thing. But now I'm able to help them navigate through the mess they might be in, the messiness of parents going two separate directions, right? The mess of stress. So I've had an interesting journey, very blessed journey. Um, Lots of challenges that have been sprinkled in there, but you know what they say, um, some will wish they would have your problems, right?
man.
So so each day, I wake up and I just look to pass life tests. And as I look back and see the test that I passed, I try to share with folks that are about to take the same test, same pop quiz, give them some of the clip notes, as they used to say. And let me see them clip notes. What's that teacher got on that test we about to take? Man, let me tell you, they about to on question number 5. Hit this box. So that's been me, man. I've went on and written, 5 books, more so from the young adult to adult age group.
Okay.
And I've also co-authored 3 children's books, with my brother Jerome Williams and Eric Walters in the youth space, engaging young readers. So essentially, right now I'm at 8 books, and I think I got about 10 to 11 in me before I settle down for a second. I'm working on one right now, and I got 2 more to go. Um, so I'm excited, man. I'm excited to just engage with this life journey, and see where it takes me. And you know what, man? Who knew that you and I were gonna cross paths? And amazing brother and what you do, and I'm just excited to be here today to talk about, some different things and see where this conversation goes.
Hey, it's an honor for me. I promise you. One, being that it's Black History Month,
Hmm.
thank God for Carter G. Woodson for Black History Week that led to this month. But there used to be a saying back in the day that says, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. That was one. And then before or during slavery, they would not even allow black people to read nor write. So for me, it's an honor to just continue to showcase black authors because of the fact that at one point we couldn't do this. We would
Yeah,
get whipped for being able to pen or to be able to think the way we think. So for me to be able to shed the light on people like yourself as an author, to me it means a lot to our ancestors. It's me giving back to them for the hard work that helped us get here to be able to freely write.
Most definitely. I think that says a whole lot. But I think it also says for us to get back here
Mm.
because we were smart enough. Our elders are smart enough to carve their writings in stone
Come on now. Because before this, before America,
before America. And we talk about not just in Egypt, we talk about in the Grand Canyon. We
come
talk
on.
about Mexico. We talking about all over the place. You
Hmm.
know, our history, was erased and presented back to us.
Hmm.
Well, many people don't know that it wasn't just in America that blacks couldn't read. When
Mm-mm.
it time that they wanted to rewrite history, um, there was a Negro or a black illiteracy, act signed by the Vatican
Hmm.
many moons ago. That was almost like a global moment where the authors of so much content and so much knowledge and wisdom that others came to us to receive.
Hmm.
Put yourself as your curator of that information.
Timbuktu.
You had to freeze blacks coming and going across the continent of Africa, coming to learn, people coming across the waterways and the Greek Isles to learn from us. You
Hmm.
had to do that while you inserted new names.
Hmm.
Greek names and Greek gods were just a remix, like how we remix a song. They remixing names and faces off
Aristotle and all these people came to Africa just to learn.
off of black wisdom, melanated wisdom. A lot of people just don't understand what this skin we're wrapped in really does.
Mm.
It moves information. Melanin allows for more information to be processed and move quicker. And that is why we jump seemingly higher, run a bit faster, catch a rhythm a little bit better,
Thanks, Fat.
craft out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Make a way out of no way. We're trying to figure out it's not genetics per se, it's the technology in our skin.
Hmm.
So I think what's happened is we've been asked to live out our long existence in America's short existence.
Yes, we're the oldest and the youngest people that have ever been.
Exactly. So therefore, I think we're coming back into realizing this was but a chapter in our story,
Come
and
on.
they present to us like it's our book, and
Mm.
they couldn't quite hide it good enough because ego won't allow you to hide yourself because it's about revealing itself. That's why it says his story, and I said, well,
Hmm.
where's our story? Where's our story? See what I'm saying? So we are the story. The
So,
black woman has the Eve gene, which means you know, everybody on this planet can be tied back to her. So,
hmm.
so you already realize you predate the writing of his story
Hmm.
with our story. So I just try to do my part in the books that I write to get people thinking. And once you get them thinking, like practicing a jump shot, you get them thinking, and now we can have deeper conversation. We can release the, uh, the limiting beliefs. You know what I'm saying? We can begin to see and accept the untruths. So
Hmm.
that's what I hope to do with my writings.
So, being that you brought this up,
Mhm.
what is the name of your first book? And let's talk about
All right. The first book that I wrote, and I often call my books the first gift, right?
it. Hey.
Was a book called Something to Think About. Now I know it's in,
Mm.
but it's just called Something to Think About, and it's 369 of my daily quotes. Now these are quotes that have come from my speaking on stage, conversations like what we're having,
Yes, sir.
wisdom I've tried to pass on to young people that inspired me while I'm trying to inspire them. They're bringing something to me because now I'm on a frequency where I'm catching information, I'm catching ideas and concepts to share with them.
Hmm.
So it's not always that we come up with an idea. It's we tap into a frequency where that idea is floating and we just catch the pass like the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? A lot of
Hmm.
like some court passes too, right? So every once in a while we catch passes. So I've caught about 1,600 passes from the ethers, and that book actually uh, shares 369, and it was strategically done. All my books are are wrapped in black and white covers.
Mm,
So one had a light bulb in the middle of the word think. So my goal wasn't necessarily to say think. My goal was to give you something to think about, but not to tell you what to think or how to think, but just something to think to turn the mind back on because I know that we are unstoppable, no matter who I'm talking to, right? It
mhm.
relates to the melanated folks with the unique story we have. We've been react we've been taught to react and respond. So culture, if it's not aimed in the right direction, can be our demise.
Yes.
We can create poor culture, claiming poverty as our
Mhm.
identity, right? We aspire to wealth, but claiming that. So something to think about was 369 steps to self-awareness. So then we go back to the energy and the emotion that moves through our people, right? Nikola Tesla knew that there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of um, divine mathematics tied to 3, 6, and 9.
Mhm.
So I chose instead of 365 quotes or 365, steps of self-awareness, I chose 369 just to reveal to those that might see and those that might know that I'm aware of some things. But I invite you to look into certain things. But the big question was become more aware of self. And that in itself is a question. What
Yes.
is what is self? Because I think we've been lulled into this equation where the black mind, the black body, the black skin has been shamed to the point where now we carry it. Now the villain of that dynamic has his hands off.
Mhm.
We look in the mirror and don't like what we see. We look at another brother and don't like what we see. But the body is just a vehicle. Like the
Mhm.
cars we parked outside, they sit and wait until we get in and drive them. The body lays still until we wake up in the morning and get up, turn it on, and drive it. So we can actually experience this matrix. Me and you can actually have a conversation using these bodies. We just got Bentley bodies,
Come on
and
now.
knowing the melanated body is like the Bentley of bodies. Here we run around like we got a Yugo and we got the Bentley. So therefore, I wanted to make sure that we turned them headlights back on. You know what I'm saying?
Come
So
on.
that first attempt was to actually um, give someone a daily thought to not only read, but to actually include a writing prompt under each thought on each page so you could actually fill the rest of your book in because my job was to put something together they call a book, but the book of life is really your life, right?
Mhm.
Really all that exists to you really is you, and you see everything else out. But what you do know is the truth here. But therefore, I want to leave room for your writing. So every quote has a writing prompt to get the party started, and then room, like a half a page for you to write. And I call it not just a book, I call it a workbook. Because if you're willing to do your work, it's going to take you back to you. But a lot of us don't like to sit still with ourselves. So it's one of those books where you pick it up, it's like, how I put that down? That's going to take me some places. Depends on when you're ready to take the journey. So that was the first book. That book came out on my birthday, 2020, March 15th. The Ides of March, for those that know, right? But that also was the day that the country shut down. That's the day they shut down Las Vegas. I'm on the strip and they shut the whole strip down. Hey, you guys got to go home. I'm having a staycation down at one of the casinos, and I'm like, I can't even get breakfast, Mr. Williams. You all got to check out and go home. I'm like, come on, man. But I knew something was serious when Vegas shut down. They shut down. They don't turn them lights off.
Come on.
They turned those casino those slot machines off and sent the poker. The poker dealers home. I knew it was serious. But that was the day that my gift came out, and that was the day that uh, we went into mass reaction. You know, COVID represents a lot of different things. But here I've come out with a book called Something to Think About. And as soon as people heard different things about what was going on, they were steering the reaction. So they say, uh, create the problem, steer the reaction, profit from the fear. You see what I'm saying? So uh, it was interesting. So I had to kind of sit back on that book launch, and that's what led me to the next book that I wrote. I wrote during COVID to give myself a focus.
What is the name of your second book? And
Well, that book I called Self Talk. Right?
self-talk.
So if you notice, you see two faces. You got a
Mm-hmm.
face, and you got a face that's in the light. And some people see black and they see white, but I see yin and yang. I see,
Inner and outer.
right? Yeah, I see the balance.
Mm-hmm.
One coming from not seeing to seeing. I see the story of the butterfly,
Come on now.
right? So self-talk was my way of saying I could sit and watch the tech moguls or good doctors sit on TV and tell me that society was never going to be the same. I could see the separation of families. I could see the fear. I could see, hey, you got me standing 6 feet from my brother or my sister. I'm seeing stickers on floors, reminding me when I was in school, stand on the spot, boys and girls. And I was asking myself so many questions. And then I had to make a choice when I realized this isn't a game. And I've got myself in the speaking game, Arthur game, to where I got a pretty nice life. But this unemployment is not supporting me as an entrepreneur.
Mm.
And this, whether they're gonna help me or help me not, is working. But here come the bills, and here come the expenses, and here comes the rent, here comes the lights, and this stuff is just draining down my resources. But nobody said, "Hey, your contract with the school districts have been cut. They've been canceled. Schools shut down." I'm like, "Hold up, you shut down my money. This money ain't mapping it up." And now I got to look at Jaguar. Got to go back. Hey, some things might not be able to keep certain things. So I'm like, I'm feeling like a failure. I said, whoa, 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 we know too much about speaking life and death.
Come on now.
So therefore, we got to watch our words. So rather than watch the news and get frustrated, we're going to write a book on self-talk, and we're going to give ourselves another focus. So I gave myself a new assignment since I'm supposed to be out there pushing something to think about, but I couldn't. I
Mm.
want the account go down. It was going the wrong direction. I said, where I am is not who I am. It's just where I am. Because who I am is greater than where I am.
Mm-hmm. You are not your circumstance.
You are not your circumstance. And so many times we define ourselves by where we perceive ourselves to be.
Instead of what God perceives you to be.
Exactly. Not knowing where you're on your way to,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we judging ourselves middle of a journey on the way to something. You might be on your way to the palace,
Come on now.
but you judging yourself because you're in a taxi cab on your way to the palace. So therefore, I wrote self-talk, which focused on 33 levels of improvement, not improvement, improvement.
Improvement.
And the goal was to look at the four seasons in our life. So I take things that everybody can relate to. A
Right.
kindergarten, there's four seasons. There's winter, there's spring, there's summer, and there's right. So okay, cool. So I need to make sure that I can simplify the complex, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's no sense in trying to write a book to say I'm smart, because it's not about being smart. It's about applying what you know, wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're here to be a messenger, you need to make sure you connect the message. That's the goal. So therefore, I take simple things, two faces facing each other, to show that it's me versus me until it's
All the time.
right. I gotta get it to the point where it's me for me. Because when it's me for me, then I can go from self-love. I can be me for you too.
Yes.
If it's me against me, how can I be me for you and me against me? It just don't that don't
I,
make sense.
I can appreciate you, but I'm never against you. I'm not your enemy. You're not my enemy. I am
Right.
my I am my best friend and I am my worst enemy
Yeah.
if I am in this journey and I'm going against everything that God has for me over there.
Yeah. Exactly. So that was the focus of that book, was to actually talk about emotions, the winter of emotion. Sometimes we get cold with each other because of the hard times we've been through. We get
Mm-hmm.
these hard hearts. Like that dude hard as all get out. No, that dude been through some hard times, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So his heart's done hardened. Winter season, too long in a winter season where nothing's blossoming, nothing's happening. So everybody cold with it, right? But then here comes the spring, and esteem springs back when
Mm-hmm.
opportunity bring into existence. Oh, I feel good now. So I looked at nature, saying, I'm not dead. The tree's not dead.
No,
It's got to root down so it can grow up.
it's still growing the whole time.
Then it goes down deep. And sometimes we don't want to dig deep enough to have a foundation for the goals and dreams we have to ascend in this life and be seen as something.
Mm.
But things spring into existence. And then we come into our summer season. And this is when people can see us balling out. The money's coming. Say money grows on trees. It don't grow on trees, right? But trees
Come
is
on
what you
now.
from. So therefore, everybody loves their summer season when they was young, when they was in shape. They had it going on, when the business was popping and opportunities is flowing, right? But then it comes a point where even the summer has to come to an end
Mm-hmm.
at the fall. And nobody wants to let go of the summer for the fall off. When your friends fall back, when the opportunities start to fall away, right? So so I used this time during COVID to look at that. It was an artificial winter season. But I had been through the seasons enough times to know that spring comes back. So
Summer
prepare,
comes.
you feel me? Um, but don't be defined by the spring coming back. But the summer feels good.
Come
But
on.
that's ego. You can't feel good just because you feel better than you used to or better than somebody else. So ego works for us in certain regards. We gotta have some ego as melanated people. Like we gotta have some, we some bad people, man. Bad meaning good. But we can't apply that energy to say we're better than,
Mm-mm.
because that's the same dysfunction that we've already been oppressed by.
Mm-hmm.
False ego. You see what I'm saying? So ego is an energy source we gotta let, because sometimes when nobody believes in you, you got to have that ego to say, "Hey, I'm something. I'm somebody.
I
Something."
believe in me. That's that self-talk.
It is that I believe in me. So ego got that book done because the ego was taking a hit with COVID, because I'm watching all these symbols leave. You know what I'm saying? What they don't say, they don't see my nice car. Like I had to ask myself, who is they? You know,
Nobody.
and nobody. I couldn't put an answer to it. It was my imagination. So, um, so basically, when the leaves fall in nature, the tree doesn't die. It
It's
don't
still
die when the leaves leave.
it's still growing.
It's still growing. It just accepted the inevitable and it saw the leaves change colors. So sometimes people don't change colors, but you're going to the next level, you know. And that's what that book invites, is for us to cycle through the full season, connecting those emotions to it. So I connected the word evolution to the fall, because most people don't think about you could actually go up while you're losing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wrote a book that was gonna take me up in the game while I was losing everything in the game. What I'm saying? So I knew self-talk was gonna be a classic.
So I want to piggyback off that real quick. So about 2 years ago, God gave me through the seasons, gave
Hmm.
me or through trees, gave me this wisdom that was profound, and I Started writing a book based on it. It's called What I Learned from Trees. So
Mhm.
to your point, during fall, things are leaving. That could be money, that could be people, that could be things. Things leave. But what
Yep.
happens in this season, what I look and I notice about the tree, what is the limbs doing?
Still branching out.
They're still praising.
Still
So
praising.
it's still praising. So it blew my mind, right? But
Yeah.
then I thought about winter because it was winter when this happened that I
Mm.
seen this. In winter, when everything is gone, the tree is still praising.
Still praising.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
springtime hit.
Hmm.
And I was like, hold up, things are coming back. What does the tree still do?
Still praise.
It never stopped praising. Summertime, full of fruit or whatever the case may be, flowers, whatever it produced, it never stops praising. So God gave me this idea. He told me, he said, look, humans during seasons, you'll find yourself dropping your arms and not praising. It could be when things are leaving. It can mess around and be when you're all alone.
You
It can
drop your,
be, man,
yeah.
you'll drop your hands and not
Instead of,
praise. Or it could be when things are coming back. You said, "Hey, God, I got this now. Appreciate you when look when you were with me back then. I don't need you. I can go forward by myself." You'll drop your arms, or when you're really fruitful. There have been many people that have dropped their arms when they are at their what they seem to be at their top.
yeah.
And what God put on my spirit was be like the tree. Stay rooted.
Stay rooted, man.
Stay rooted in your word or close to your source,
Yep.
because that's where everything is going. And in every season, know that you are still growing because the tree never stops growing in any of these seasons. And the
Yep.
last thing, stay praising.
Stay
This was
praising.
the lesson I learned from trees, man. And it's
Yep.
funny that you
Hey,
got your same lessons from
hey,
trees. This shows the
we got a
power.
similar, we got a similar professor. See,
Yes, look, I promise you. Look, hey,
I say some people, and I said this in the book Self Talk. I said some have gone to university. I think you and me. I think we went to the universe I see.
all right.
So I'd say, like I said, you and I, we had a similar professor. So in self talk, I mentioned some people go to university. That's a great accomplishment to get accepted, to complete the task, and thrive through that. But I think you and I attended the universe I see. We watching the trees, we watching the butterfly. You can't go wrong with nature because I realized during my time taking university classes, because I signed out before I finished college. Parents didn't like it. I'm the oldest son, and I'm supposed to set the example for my brother. So I made sure both of them finished. I mean, I'll get y'all's degree. But for me, what my purpose was as a messenger, I kept seeing a professor standing before me that was citing the source. And the professor before that professor was citing the source. And I was like, originally, at the origin of all of this, there
Disciples.
wasn't someone to cite. It
Mm-mm.
was source. So the original teacher is source. I said, and what you're asking me to do is to, I'm finding I'm going further and further from myself. I'm here to master myself. I'm here for self mastery. But if I only aspire to get a master's degree, which serves a purpose in our society,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I wanted to get a master's degree in me before I lost me because
Mm-hmm.
I see people with master's degrees, and I'm like, what did you master? I got a master's degree, but I've seen Master Chin on Kung Fu Action Theater.
Come on now.
Master Chin was a serious dude. You understand what I'm saying?
And he mastered self.
And look, man, he mastered self. And at the end of the day, if you study under a master and you don't figure out that it's about you finding your own inner mastery, You only become a master at mimicking another master.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why so many masters and so many professors are citing sources, and they're not the source of for which they come. When we all can hit the divine radio stations and reach and catch an idea, a divine thought, that people say, man, how you come up with that? And I don't know. No, we rode that wave, we hit that frequency, we set that intention, and we caught a pass. So um, that's how source provides an original source.
Mm-hmm.
Once we write it, somebody else might repeat and recite it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else repeats and recites it. But long down the line, somebody might miss that they got to find themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Just repeat what's already been repeated because the scoreboard is what it is in life. And if we don't see the society that we want, then we haven't caught enough passes to get it right. So
Mm-hmm.
there, I say there's plenty of room for all of our wisdom and all of the stuff we catch, but we got to be messengers to move a message that may not be moving um, by some of the other, folks that are passing on messages that have been caught. There's no disrespect to that.
Mm-mm.
There's a lot. I think there's a lot that's offered by that. I just had a deeper understanding of what I came to do in this life, and I was like, I got to start by discovering me because the world keeps trying to tell me and you who we are, and they
And
keep act like our story is wrapped up in his story. As
mm-hmm.
I, it's got to be deeper than that. It's got
They
to be.
actually know who we are. We
Mhm.
haven't come to the realization of who we are or whose we are in order to be able to give back to show people that, hey, you're special. I don't
Yeah.
care what the world says about you. I
Yep.
need you to know what the source says about you. So and then now you what you can do, you can come out of that little bubble that's in your mind about what they say.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, sometimes I love hearing what they say, me personally, because I don't want it to just be about what I think.
Yeah.
How I get better is listening to me, listening to them, but knowing what God says about me. And what happens is I get to master what I fix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can always master, you can always change whatever you don't like or whatever
Yep.
needs to be changed. So we're gonna move this thing forward, move the needle forward. Tell me about your third book.
The third book, you just gave it to us. It's called Think About It, right?
Mm,
You gave it to us. You get to master yourself. And a lot of times that's something to think about. Like who am I? What is self? You focused on the Trinity of all things. We got here, so we had no knowledge of even being here until we figured out we see ourselves in the mirror. Right. So I'm here. And then we see mama and daddy, or we see mama out there. Then we see friends and cousins and people out there, right? So now I realize I'm here. Now I can see you out here, but then we neither one of us can tell how we got here.
you're the main character.
Only to a certain degree can we keep ourselves here. And then when we lose someone that's close to us and they go from here, then you realize where did they go back to? And nothing no doctor could do could keep them here. So something got us here that we have no idea about,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing can keep us here. So I realized that we come from nowhere, and that's just a word for us to share, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find ourselves now here having this conversation, same word, before we go back to nowhere. So, what is the vastness that governs nowhere, that made sure we had everything we need while we're now here?
Mm-hmm.
We must be a piece of that,
Mm-hmm.
or we have no concept of that.
Not at all, because you're a piece of it.
Yeah,
So you got to be a part of it. That's the
yeah,
reason why you got the concept of it.
exactly. So what I did and think about it was I offered up my first 99 thoughts. And I was careful not to call them quotes because quotes is when somebody repeats something that's been said.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't write quotes, I share thoughts
Okay.
because I knew there'd be an antagonist. You can't just write your own quotes. You're right. So therefore, I offered up my first 99 thoughts. And the whole book goes like the first thing on my mind, the second thing on my mind, And I stopped at 99 just to give somebody something to think about. Like, why didn't he go to 100? Well, that's the same way a salesperson might sell something for 99 cents instead of a dollar. That's why they got
Mm-hmm.
a cent store, right? There's something about the question that
Mm-hmm.
we have to ask, right? Something about the puzzle you just mentioned. So that particular book um, is bent around my first 99 thoughts. And the reason why I came out third, even though I said it's my first 99 thoughts, is because when I wrote the book, I shared it with people closest to me, and I didn't get any feedback. I mean, none. No response, no text, no nothing. I'm like, well, I can't put this out to the world if my own folks aren't responding to it. What I found out later was each of the thoughts that I shared, three questions came with the thoughts. You see,
Mm-hmm.
and the thoughts were one thing, but the questions would dig into who you are. You couldn't hide from the questions. And it wasn't basic questions that I asked for every quote. It was distinct questions related to that quote.
Mm.
So I'm gonna give you, we're gonna do one better. I want you just to pick a number from 1 to 99. I'm gonna show we're gonna do it right here in front. We're gonna see what you come up with.
Give me 13. Being that we spoke about the number 13
That's the
yeah, the other day.
that's the family number, man. That's the family number. Okay. Man, I looked at this quote this morning. I decided I wasn't gonna use it as my morning message, but obviously it's the message for today. The 13th thing that was on my mind. Don't fall for the illusion of wealth. Nice things represent the money we had, not the money we have. Why do you think people feel the need to consume so much? That's a question for our community, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't up on this. I got Gucci, Louis. I got 4, 5 different brands on. I got a $1,000 outfit on. Might have $10 left in my pocket.
Mm.
All my value. I put on my value. So the same concept of oppression. I'm financing its wealth while I chase its wealth
Mm.
because I don't see the wealth in me.
Come on now.
But they, like a tree, are planted. They had planted themselves in our culture. They planted themselves in our labor. They planted themselves in our emotion. They planted themselves in our creativity. And fruit comes from their tree. But we are the soil to
Come on.
all they've done, right? So, but here we are falling for the illusion of wealth. We're content with consuming, not creating. And therefore we give off the illusion of wealth. But nice things don't represent the money we have, just the money we had. Because once we show what we did with our money is gone. And they say of all the nations, especially in this country,
We would be
a
anywhere
paper,
between 8 and number 12.
a dollar stays within our community 30 minutes.
Oh.
30 minutes. And in some communities, their dollar circulates almost a month or 2 months before it leaves their community. And we just got to get back to that because it's not that we've never been there. You see what I'm saying? But we don't think about these things. Um, this month talks a lot about our accomplishments or conquests with regards to equality, integration,
Mm-hmm.
the battle against segregation, Jim Crow, all these things. But what we didn't realize is that by fighting so hard to be able to sit where we wanted to sit, to see signs taken down. See, it's one thing when you can see you at war,
Mm-hmm.
see your opponent. It's another thing when you ask your opponent to hide what he or she feels or thinks about you.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're so bent on joining them that when you join them, they see a bump in their profit.
Mm-hmm.
So much so, they
That they,
see benefit to destroy not one Black Wall Street, but
but
every
man,
one across this country, that every single highway pouring through most US cities was strategically designed to go right through what they call the black bottom in every single city.
mm-hmm.
Every single city had a black town, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and most of us don't realize we were displaced and never allowed to reestablish or reopen. So it was the destruction of our community, the highway system in America. And that's written in many, many research books. I was told that by government agencies as I was doing different things with my brother. So I'm not talking just off the side of my neck. I'm like, that's something that you can research and find out. Um, so what about us calls for there to be so much disruption, distraction, and realize how profitable we are.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to benefit from it. And then we forgot in the fight for unity that they hadn't waved the flag yet.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're asking that a dog meow or a cat begin to bark. And we've been waiting. And we've been waiting. And it's just and now it's time for us just to return back to ourselves and really just think about does some of the things we do make sense? Some of the things we're enticed to do now make sense. Because there was a time we made more sense and our community was more intact. And then our community was attacked because it was intact. You get what
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Most definitely.
saying? And there was a whole lot of help to disrupt it. And I think that was the biggest thing I started thinking. So you notice a lot of stuff is like, think about it, something to think about, right? And all these little nuggets, these little seeds that if we just plant them, they'll grow. The conversation will go around them. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That little seed, like, okay, something as simple as, that quote on money talks about the illusion of we've made it, but all we've done is made somebody richer. And
Mm-hmm.
it's ingrained in us not to not show that we okay. And in showing that we're okay, we're not we're not making any financial ground because we're busy trying to show that we've arrived at this level and this level. So that was things I wanted to kind of integrate in all kinds of quotes like that, and then questions that begin asking, you to ask yourself some real detailed questions. You know what I mean? When you can't run, you can't cross it up. You can't shake that defense. You know, goes back to you or you versus you.
At all times. So your next book, for
Man,
time's sake, I gotta kind of speed through this thing.
yeah. So next book was just manifest. It was actually a short book to help get the party started for men um, that might consider reading self-talk.
Mm,
So self-talk might not be a topic that we as brothers might say, "Oh, that's a book for me, self-talk." But women might say, "I'll read self-talk." They might own the fact that they might look in the mirror a lot more, talk about themselves in a positive, negative way. So manifest was basically saying, step into the men's room, and at the end of the day, create your reality.
come on.
Put the word man, put I between man and fest. It was a bishop that wanted me to come and do a conference in Vegas once I moved, and he wanted to call it Manfest. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but I think it'd be better if it's manifest. But the I was the I am that I am.
Come on.
I am manifest, and you have manifest, and you can create your reality. So we can create the hood, or we can create the neighborhood. Manifest. It's how we see it, right? So the last book that I've written, I'm writing one now, but this was the one that I wrote when I got to Chicago. It's called Activated, and
Mm,
that's just me sharing uh, what I've learned over 20 plus years of activism, speaking in school, contract as a mentor. And it just so happened that a young man I met almost 20 years ago while speaking in Canada, they said this young fellow, his name is Lance Constantine. He wants to be a motivational speaker like you. Could you mentor him? I didn't know that I'd be mentoring him for 20 years. Now,
Mm,
a young guy. Now he's what's considered Canada's next Obama. Or
mm.
I didn't realize I was being handed this seed who was like, I'm watching what you do. But my thing was, I don't want you to do what I do. We got to figure out what you come to do. We got to figure out you speak your voice. You tell your stories. Don't speak like me. Let's speak like you. And he took what I shared with him and he went on to create Speakers University and travel around the world and help other activists in other countries because Canada is more global than America. They go from this country, this country, this country. So he done went to everywhere but America and created Speakers University to teach other young people not just to be speakers, but to speak truth, often the power, and know how to convey themselves and get their point across using principles that I shared with them.
Be the best version. What have you ever watched Kung Fu Panda?
Yes, sir.
Did you watch
Yes.
all four?
I didn't watch all four. No, no, no. I didn't watch all four.
After this, I don't know when you're gonna have time. I want you to go back and watch all four
I'm
all over again.
dating.
And what
Just
what you what you're gonna notice is this. In the first one, he didn't know that he had a power. He didn't know who he was.
okay.
That was
Yes.
given to him. He realized, hold up, I'm the one.
There it is. That's the one I saw. Yeah, that's the one I saw.
I'm the
I
one.
okay.
And
Yep.
that was given, I'm giving you the gift that you have and you don't know that you have because of
Mm,
what you think you are. Number
yes.
two, he learns how to use the gift. Just learn how to use it in the best way. I'm the one, but now I don't know how to use my gift. So now I'm moving into using my gift. Number three, he becomes the master of the gift.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Number four, he becomes the spiritual leader. So what happens through all of this is the self-mastery that you've been talking about through all of your books.
Come on, man.
You are the main character of your story. And what you
Brother.
told, what you basically gave that man is this, that young man that you nurtured for 20 plus years, is that I don't need you to be me. I need you to be the best version of you.
Yes,
And
sir.
what you would do as being the best version, when you learn to lock into who you are, what you will do is change the world.
There it is, brother. And that's exactly what we aim to do. So in the word activated is the ons button. Whatever it is you got in you, while you got breath, you got to act on it and you got to activate it. I'm happy that you activated on the message that you caught, you know, the autobiography of a butterfly. Come on, man. What you learn from trees. Come on, man. You simplified some great wisdom. So I'm looking forward to reading that. But I'm gonna go check out the other Kung
What
Fu.
if?
Yeah, I'm gonna go check them out. I'm gonna go check those out because I stopped on the one. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm cool. And I didn't realize they came back. So you helped me. I hope you help somebody else that's listening to go check out the other three because I'm about to go check out number two today. Um, but as we wrap up, the one thing I will tell you, the book I'm writing into existence has a lot to do with what we just been talking about. Being that it's Black history and you've honored myself and other Black authors, um, I decided to write a book called Black Light.
You shared that with me.
Yeah, that's the video I sent you the other day. And the concept of black light is a black light bulb, when plugged in and turned on, it exposes the unseen.
Hmm.
So the concept of black light is all of us turning our own inner light black on, right? And when we turn our inner light black on, what ends up happening is we expose the lint. Like when I
Come
walked into the club back in the day and they had them dark lights on, and I'm like, oh Lord, I did not get the lint off.
on.
You know what I'm saying? And some cats ain't brush their teeth right because the plaque they smile like, man, don't smile. Your teeth lighten up. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just exposing everything, right? So it was one of those things where it's like, hey, let's expose the lint. So it's a real catchy phrase, black light exposing the lint. But I said lint's gotta mean more than just that. So lint
Hmm.
exposing the lies, the intentions, the narrative, and the truth. So we here to expose the lies that have been told. That's why I say something to think about. That's what I say self-talk, discover yourself, right? Um, the narratives that have carried those lies, the narratives we repeated.
Mm.
Think tank, brothers and sisters repeating lies that they've heard and studied at universities under masters who mastered masses' lies. You
Mm-hmm.
feel? So I said, so how do we get to the truth? Sometimes we have to go inside and gain the inner truth, because certain things, when you ask somebody to repeat something 2 or 3 times, they can realize this thing making no sense. I've been repeating and believing something that don't make no sense. You can't get onto a narrative that don't make no sense. So this book is right about 570 pages thick right now, and I wanted to make sure that we delve into topics that we don't typically dive in during Black History Month. So
Mm.
we have our inventors, we have our leaders that push the envelope. You know, we have people who have amazing stories, but you and I got amazing stories.
Man, I promise you.
You know? So at the end of the day, we're all writing our chapter into our story, right? But we get too caught up in his story.
Mm-hmm.
My story is a mystery to even me.
I
So I
promise.
myself to be able to reveal my chapter. You feel me? So at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that be one of the legacies that I give, you know, to my own kids, is to make sure that they see how strong we are by seeing the covert intentions to keep us from standing at all.
Come on.
That was a different way of looking at history where everybody can reflect on themselves. So
Mm.
I'll close out with this. I changed the phrasing on two key things. I don't use the word slave per se in the book unless I'm citing a source that's been scripted by somebody who's making a strong point. I refer to our elders as captives,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're a captive, there's a captor.
I promise
Now, what was the purpose of the captor catching the captive?
you. Financial gain.
It was to capitalize upon our captivity, which gave birth to capitalism.
Come
So
on.
all capitalism that we see
It's based upon
from
us.
captivity, whether it's the prison system, the school system, the debt system, you feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The medical system, all these systems are capitalizing off of captives.
Mm.
So, so I took that because slaves just provides shame,
Mm-hmm.
but the shame the slaver, it just seems a slave shame the slave.
Mm.
Say captive, we can now work with a different word. Don't sound it sound like, hold up, man. My people was captured. Now we ain't captured no more. So now,
Mm-hmm.
and what they gained from was capital, capital.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking economics without talking emotion. We talking economics. But then I went on in the book to make a very important point. It's very hard to rise back to your feet when you calling somebody opposing you from rising to your feet supreme. So very many black professors, authors, think tanks, and leaders will reference, we got to stop white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
But everything they're pointing at in relation to the point they're making would indicate inadequacy.
White inferiority.
Exactly. So I say, hold on now. If I look at a supreme pizza, it's got everything on it.
Now you gotta look at the people.
But when I look at the people that you call supreme, I see a lack of character sometimes. I see a lack of creativity.
Melanin.
I see
Melanin.
passion, self-reflection, ownership. I see too much stuff lacking. I'm like, where's the cheese on that pizza?
Then
And
you look at the other people.
I'm not calling no pizza supreme that ain't got no cheese on it. But
Look
then
at
you
the
who's endured it all, creates in spite of, been here since the beginning of time,
that sounds supreme.
raised your children and went back home and had to try and do something with your own after raising your own and nursed them. So why would history reveal to us that they kept black women lactating so they could nurse children of other nationalities? Because they knew the breast milk of the black woman was the most supreme breast milk on the planet. It's things that I gotta reveal, man. So that's why I had it gotta be black light, man, because I'm coming to dispel these lies. I'm coming to challenge the lies. And you know what I'm saying?
I
and
can't
let's
wait to read it.
for it. So it's something, boy. It's gonna be something, man. And I know that you're an amazing author, an amazing artist, and I'm hoping that maybe we can incorporate some of your art, man, into these pages so we can wake people up. Because
We're
you
gonna
sent me
see. Look, we're gonna see what happens. Look,
to
last thing I need from you before we go,
it.
give me a word of wisdom that anybody can use, whether they are just starting their journey, whether they're in the midst of their journey. I ain't gonna say exiting because you never really exit the journey unless you're dying. But give me something that would be profound that God gives you that you get to enlighten the people with.
And we said a lot of stuff today, and of course, a lot of the stuff we talk about is simple but also deep.
Mhm.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna simplify it because I think that's the purpose of wisdom. So, so as messengers, two messengers having a great conversation, I'm gonna say this. My mother told me, keep life as simple as a number two pencil, or pay the price for erasing her advice. So you said a lot, but only a little today, right? Keep life simple. It'll get complex, but you want to find a way to simplify the things. Get to the meat of whatever it is you're trying to do, right? But when you find yourself catching some wisdom, don't forget it. You catch an idea from the ether, from the creator of all, write it down, honor it by writing it down. All my books came from me stopping and going and posting the quote or the thought that I had. To the point where I had so much stuff that I was like, I got a book already done. I didn't sit down. I had to sit and really write the book because I was writing it along the way, day by day. So I took that pencil, but we can't write with an unsharpened pencil. And this goes for everybody listening, especially our community. We can't be cool with just being a pencil. Got pencil potential. We could write potentially, but not until we shed away what's unnecessary. Habits, old beliefs, anger, limiting thoughts, fear. We got to shed all that to sharpen ourselves enough to write our story, or we're going to keep repeating his story. That's what I leave you with, man.
And now tell them where they can actually purchase your books because this is meaning for this. I need y'all to go actually purchase his books. This is the wisdom that you need that will take you further. Go buy the books.
They can always go to johnnywilliams.com. So that's Johnny spelled like on the screen. Or do one either. You could just type my name right into any search engine. It's gonna bring up all the books. Um, I got a cool link tree. It's just link dot tree, right? Backslash Johnny Williams 3, the number 3. And it's got videos, podcasts, got everything right there, you know, made easy for you. And I always make sure the new books are always listed right there. So, um, but the cool thing is do a search. Always research somebody before you just go and just buy something. Look them up. So I encourage you just to type that name into the internet and see what comes up. I got a lot more gifts for you. And Carlos, I appreciate you, brother, honor me along with all the other brothers. And I know our conversations will continue, brother.
I promise you. Look, I know how to nurture relationships.
Okay.
Yeah, and it sounds like you do too.
Yes,
Look,
sir.
my name is Carlos Walker. This is Art and Hustle Black Authors Matter, and this is Mr. Johnny Williams III. Blessings.